day, everybody. It is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoy this video, you should subscribe for more RWBY videos, and make sure to check out the Patreon, not only for our reaction, which is up for early access as you guys are seeing this, but early access to these kinds of videos as well. Today, we will be talking about Penny.
I've done it!
Oh my god, let's go through the history first before Hunter insists that they've done it again.
I've done it again!
Oh my god.
For the third week in a row, I've done it!
Haven't gotten anything right, though. So how do you know that you've
Yet.
done it? Like, okay, we haven't gotten the Cinderback story. We haven't
Just
gotten
as the mighty
thing
fates,
yet.
the
Oh,
mighty
God.
fates of Greek legend weaved the what did they weave?
I don't know what they weave.
The lines, the strings, the threads of fate. I weave the threads of RWBY.
Okay.
I have seen you are just a baby walking
Wait.
across a table. You know not that you will fall to the end, but I know you will. For I am the adult. I am your mother, watching you crawl across the table.
Okay.
I have seen the future, and I have predicted a Penny hack.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about that. So we had the idea for Penny getting hacked all the way in Volume 7,
Quite
all
a few
right?
people did.
Which it didn't happen, but that's okay.
Yes.
Because this volume, after the intro came out, we did another video about Penny definitely being hacked because of the symbolism that was in the intro of Penny's eyes turning red. So I feel pretty good about myself because we saw this coming all the way in Volume 7. But Hunter would like to now talk about, because it is a guarantee. It's basically a guarantee that they're trying to hack Penny. But what is the outcome? How does this happen? What is going to happen, right? Because, for example, and we'll get into it, but I had this idea of, will she even make it to Amity Coliseum with Maria and Pietro? And if she does make it there, will she kill them? Right? And so there's a lot of things to talk about, the different routes that this could go, because she could have just flown out of the airship, turned around and went back to Ironwood, right? Because that's what they're ultimately hacking Penny for. But if she's already with Pietro and Maria, could Watts resist fucking with Pietro a little bit when he is controlling Penny, right?
Maybe,
And
yeah.
so take it away, Hunter, because clearly you have some ideas. Because we've already talked about it, I was like, listen, my head is empty other than them possibly kidnapping Maria and Pietro on the way. I don't know what else. Or Penny talking to the people through the CCTS tower or whatever it's called. When they put Amity Coliseum in the sky, everyone's happy. Pietro's like, Penny, we did it, right? In his little Pietro voice, and then her eyes turn red and she's like, people of Remnant, right? Because it's supposed to restore global communication. So imagine global communications are restored and everyone just sees evil Penny being controlled by Watts, who is also being controlled by Salem in a sense. Watts is under Salem, right? And
Yes.
so I don't know how that would all turn out, but my assumption is probably bad. Right?
So these are all the things that I think can happen.
Sure.
Going from what I feel is least to most likely. First, some people think it won't happen. That this is all one big, subversive thing.
Like a red herring?
It was almost a red herring.
But it seems like they're doing it, though.
It seems like they're doing it.
They got
but
the
people
sword,
think
bro. They're
that
doing it.
it's gonna be a big red herring because earlier we've seen a lot of Penny self-doubt.
Yes.
So I think that, and to an extent, I thought this earlier, and I've seen a lot of people feel this way, that, what if she does ultimately, bend to Ironwood's will? She kind of gets gaslit so much that she thinks,
she
oh,
goes
I have to
willingly.
do
So
this.
people are saying, no, it's not a hack. She's actually going to change sides, and the hack thing is like a ruse.
Yeah, and I think
right?
that will likely happen if maybe she goes to Amity Arena, they try to send the message, they're attacked, the Grimm attacked, maybe Pietro dies, maybe Maria dies, maybe she feels like she lost her father, and what if she's wrong, and then she goes to Ironwood?
Yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. So basically, Penny goes to Amity Arena. Amity Arena is not yet elevated in the sky. The Grimm go for it because they know, they sense that something's going down, and Salem doesn't want global communications restored unless she does, which we'll talk about, to send a message to the world. We'll talk about that another time. And then the Grimm attack, maybe Pietro dies, maybe Maria, I don't know. And then, Penny's like, fuck.
Blames herself.
And without RWBY to sort of, steer her steady, if that makes sense, she goes back to Ironwood willingly and they don't need to hack her at all. But I feel like they've set the seats for hacking though. So I feel like even if that does happen, I feel like hacking would come into play. And here's what I would think for that specific idea is that Penny does go back willingly at first, but next time she sees RWBY, because she's so like, I don't want to say she's susceptible to RWBY, but because RWBY is her voice of reason and her Jiminy Cricket and her common sense, she goes back on RWBY's side, and Ironwood's like, I didn't want to have to do this, Penny, but and then, like, here it goes, pull the lever, Krog, and then, like, Penny gets hacked. That's what I'm thinking of.
This is the thing I think is next most likely. Earlier, and I think this is a setup, they show her double lasers, start up again. Yeah. The only other time we've seen her double lasers, other in, like, earlier volumes, but that was a single laser, I believe, was in the beginning when she just easily wipes out all of those Grimm from first naked to Atlas in Volume 7. So I'm thinking the way that they started those up and how ominous it was, I'm like, that's going to happen again. She's going to use those. It's going to be bad. Yes. I suspect, as I pull on the thread of fate, I suspect that she will use it not as like an act of mass like murder or whatever, or killing her friends, which I think some people think will happen. I think she will use it to take down Amity Arena. Sure. And she will just like strafe the outside, and then she will think she kills Maria, or a lot of people will think Maria and Pietro have died. Or
they are, or they're not. We don't know.
And that's something that I think will happen. I think that's what the lasers are. I think that's what they're building up to.
My only thing is, and so here's my argument against that, I guess, is that it doesn't make sense for Ironwood to not want the communication tower to go up. Like, the only reason he's not participating in the idea is because he thought that it wasn't possible to get done in the time span that they needed to do, if that makes sense. Like, they thought that it wasn't going to work. That's why Ironwood abandoned the idea. It's not like, oh, I don't want the tower to go up because then everyone will know of my mwahaha evil deeds. Like, no, that wasn't the argument. It was like, we need to get Atlas into the sky right now. We don't have time for Amity Arena. We don't have time to warn the rest of the world. We don't have time for Mantle. Like, that was his thing, is that he didn't know how close Pietro was, that it was in the realm of possibility. And even if it is, he doesn't care. So, if the tower was going to go up, I can't see Ironwood willingly destroying it, because that is ultimately helpful to him. So I do agree with you about the lasers being foreshadowing, but I do think that it could be murderous foreshadowing as opposed to taking the tower down.
Which is why I think I should have mentioned this. I misread the string.
Oh, God.
Is why I think that would be Watts doing that first.
Oh, you mean Watts? And then Ironwood's like,
and it'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Because if you think about it, he could lock the doors, like he has all the security in the room. He could, like, lock the doors, have her do that, and then eventually he puts a bullet. It's like, fine, we'll bring her back here, and we'll open up the gates.
Yeah. Which, so I see what you're saying. So Watts does it on Salem's behalf. Yes. And then when Ironwood's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, you need me. Don't forget that, okay? I'll bring her back, I promise. And so, like, that's, like, the first sense that maybe trusting Watts was not a great idea.
Alternatively, it could be Ironwood acting totally, like, irrationally.
Sure.
They start the message and it then is taken out. Alternatively, it could be Watts seeing that Pietro's up there. Watts does not like Pietro, so he sends it out.
Because that's my biggest idea, is that I think that Watts will, like, kill Pietro, or, like, torture Pietro, because he just really hates Pietro. And so I feel like the best way to get back at Pietro in Watts' mind is to kill Pietro using his own daughter, and Penny is aware, but she is not in control. And that's something that we talked about a lot, was Penny being, like, mentally present, but has no control over her body, if that makes sense. So yeah, that'd be pretty fucked up, if you ask me.
I would be really fucked up, especially if she goes from murder to normal, and then she's like,
and then
racked
she sees
with
what
guilt.
she's done, right?
I would be like, it would be the darkest thing RWBY did if she couldn't live with it and then she ended her life. Could you imagine they did that?
Oh, she just, like, destroyed herself. That would be crazy.
That would be horrifying.
I doubt it, because I don't think need her to be the maiden. But maybe though, in, like, terms of that idea that you had before, like, she could have seen, like, that she killed Pietro, and she knows that she has no choice but to go back to Ironwood, that she is not a real girl, and she is just a controllable toy, and she loses that a bodily autonomy, right? And so then she goes back to Ironwood willingly, like, without being hacked. And that's sort of a mix of both of the ideas. The idea that it's a red herring, but the idea that it's also an actual thing. Because then you get Penny being hacked, but then you get ultimately it is awareness of her own guilt and her own, own state that makes her go back to Ironwood, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And everyone's manipulation.
That lines up with the early idea that it could have just been Salem attacking. I do think that, however, this would make a good, kind of like how the attack on the Happy Huntress rally.
Yeah.
How that was a really shocking thing that I think ended around the Christmas break.
Yes.
The winter break.
So Penny's gonna get hacked, and then we're gonna have the Christmas cliffhanger. Is basically what you're saying.
And it'll.
I already know. Now that I'm thinking about it,
it's gonna blow my heart in two.
Damn.
Also on the topic, I think maybe Pietro will die. I think maybe people will think Pietro will die, but I think maybe it'll be like a twisteroo, like his chair has rockets in it,
or
and it
something.
can fly away.
He's not
and
it's he's just holding Maria.
Yeah, I imagine it's like Maria. This might sound weird, but sit on my lap, and they just fly off. That's how I. So I think that he might survive to save the day. And
I kind of hope that Watts kills Pietro.
Well, that's because the threads and the fates say that you're a terrible person.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I kind of hope that Watts
Next
kills Pietro.
most likely idea. Either that tower thing happens or it doesn't, but Penny then comes over and Ironwood attempts to reach into the vault, and that's when the all-out attack happens. Monstera will ram into Atlas. That's when it slams, everything's go to hell. Maybe Penny isn't able to reach it, or
I see what you mean. So they open the vault, Penny's reaching, and then it's and then how Alice is getting it.
I imagine we might finally actually see Salem fight. Oh. This could be her move, and then Ironwood's Penny, attack, and Salem just wipes the floor.
So wait, Salem's gonna come in the relic room?
Potentially. Whatever happens, I think she will be there. I think potentially she will I think the hacking might have glitches. I think bad stuff will happen, but then she'll get sucked out of it.
Penny, right?
Penny will.
Okay.
Then maybe she might they might have to recoup. Maybe it'll be another scene with RWBY. I don't know. It'll be delayed to some capacity, whether or not it be the hacking not totally working or a full-out Salem attack.
Okay.
Because presumably Salem doesn't know that Penny's
getting hacked. No, she wouldn't, because Watts has no way of contacting her, right?
Yeah.
So is that... What else do you got for me, Hunter?
She then goes into there, and then I suspect that this is where something happens to Penny. Either she gets the maiden power sucked out of her by Cinder. This is why I think Salem would be able to do it especially well. I think she could potentially die. I think that potentially...
Oh, boy!
Well, they mentioned something last volume, which is she was all right so long as she still had her core.
Yeah.
I think that she will be destroyed.
They know how to get to it.
But they'll have the core.
Yeah.
So I think that and then years later in the series when they do the epilogue and they beat Salem and everything's okay, RWBY and Pietro, or maybe just RWBY, working with Pietro's blueprints, will remake Penny, and they'll have a beautiful moment where they hug.
Because does this hinge on Pietro dying? Because imagine Pietro dies and Penny is destroyed. That means it would take a long time for her to be rebuilt, and that would be an end of the series thing. Because I feel people's criticism if Penny died again was, she's a robot, just bring her back. But if Pietro's not around, or if Pietro's been already dead,
wouldn't it be super romantic if after RWBY, it's been a couple years and RWBY's able to do it, and Penny comes back, but with part of RWBY's aura?
Aww, that is kind of romantic.
That would be very romantic.
Like that.
Speaking of romance...
I think it would be interesting, though. I think that it would be interesting if Watts kills Pietro. Sorry to say it again. If Watts kills Pietro, and then Penny is destroyed, and so RWBY knows that right now, in this moment, in the fight against Salem, there is no way to bring Penny back. Here's my question. Does that mean that Cinder would get the Winter Maiden powers, in your idea?
Potentially.
Or would they go somewhere else?
That would be a big twist if it wasn't Cinder.
Would
it go to Emerald? Would it go to Neo?
Oh, God.
Maybe that's part of Cinder's story.
Cinder kills Penny, and then it just goes...
Maybe Salem's just I like the little one better.
Damn.
And then, because we have whole ideas, we mentioned previously that we think Cinder might leave, and then
That's
Zuko.
actually my idea, though, against Penny being destroyed, though, because I feel like Salem is gonna see Penny getting hacked and be like, you know what? A hacked robot as a vessel for the Maiden Powers makes a lot more sense than you, Cinder. And so I feel like that Penny will not be destroyed for that specific reason, because they want to continue to create that sort of tension between, like, oh, well, Salem is gonna replace you, Cinder, and all that sort of stuff, and that could be like fun. So I don't think that they would kill Penny again. I feel like that's a bit. I feel like we've had enough. You know what I mean? I feel like we had too much of Penny dying.
Which it brings me to, like, what I think is how they might unhack her.
Sure.
I think that she might still die. She might still be grievously injured. Maybe she will be in a wheelchair similar. I don't know. I think she will get grievously injured in her fight, just like protecting her friends and going against Salem. Before that, she gets unhacked, and I have two ideas for how she gets unhacked.
So how are we getting unhacked, Hunter?
So I think, honestly, the most likely one is that the Aesop, or one of the Aesop's turn. I think that it's getting increasingly obvious that Marrow is not okay with this.
Marrow's just like, ugh.
Maybe Hair, maybe it's not looking likely.
But how would they do it, though? Because
maybe Winter? Maybe Winter and Marrow do it?
Maybe,
because
like,
Winter
the thing
doesn't
is, though,
seem
how,
totally into
right?
it
Like,
either.
how would they force Watts to relinquish control over her?
Yeah,
or would
potentially.
they, like, how does that work?
Maybe they would, because they would know, like, the control room or whatever, so they would break into the control room.
So they would go against Ironwood, and they basically, like, kill Watts.
What I think would happen is that it would start off as a Winter versus Aesop's fight, and then it would turn into a Winter, and then in the last moment, like, he has his moment of, like, it's like almost like, who are you gonna shoot? And then Marrow shoots Hair, and then they go in and then they destroy. Well, not shoots, but, like, you know, metaphorically.
Yeah, like
defeats Hair or
like
saves
Marrow
Winter.
turns against the Aesops with Winter, and then they go and stop Watts, and then Penny gets unhacked.
Exactly. They unhack her. Second, now this is really weird.
Okay.
And I don't fully understand it.
Neither do I.
But
I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
They talk about the specifics of RWBY's, like, semblance and how it breaks down people to a molecular level.
Yes.
What if doing that stops Penny from being hacked? I have no idea how that would work.
Neither do I.
It seems like a bit of like a really like.
Because I talked
grandma
about that
oh, anything mechanical, give it a good whack. Like,
right, so I talked about this with Hunter because I was like, okay, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that if it can be broken down on a molecular level, it could separate the hacked bits from the good bits.
I'm not
but
thinking,
that doesn't make any sense.
I'm not thinking, but what if I'm thinking it would act as like a hard reset?
Sure.
And so like she has to keep on doing that. And I also think that. Because, like, there's a hard reset, so maybe it's, like,
you can't get hacked if you have no math!
Having to keep on, like, I don't know, hack or, like, reboot this, or doing techie shit that's not totally 100%, like, I'm in.
I think with the molecular level thing, it would make much more sense.
The first one's better.
For RWBY to fucking use it on the Hound, and then separate the Hound from whoever's inside it or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that makes more sense.
Entirely for a joke, or it comes up later.
I know. I understand what you're saying. Like, it's, oh god, what's it called?
It's Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, but
I know, but it's so weird.
I don't understand how that would unhack Penny, like, from a scientific, like, I know it's a magical science project, but I don't get it.
Yeah, I get it. I listen, I'm there.
Like,
the fates
and
were
how would
drunk.
this work with other stuff? You know what I mean? Like, if you had something.
If she tackled a hot chocolate, could she separate the powder from the water
That's
from
what
the
I'm
marshmallows?
saying. Yeah, could she?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. And so, yeah.
I also think that the idea, if she, like, zooms in her, because we've seen it in volume 1 or 2 where RWBY almost grabs her and runs with her very fastly. It would be cool if they did that and then they fall out into, like, almost they're hugging. And then RWBY looks down and the eyes are green. I think that they've built up a kind of, like, thing where they hug a lot. I don't know what to tell you. I think that there's going to be a hug between RWBY and Penny, and it's going to be very important.
Yeah.
It'll either be that could almost be very romantic.
So this was fun. This was interesting.
But the winter one is way better. You
there are
like the winter
valid
one.
points in here. Now, what I was actually going to say is that in a move of absolute stupidity, okay?
Yes.
I know Pietro can hack Penny remotely, so I'm sure Watts would too. But here's what I was thinking, is that the Aesops realized that Marrow is like, you know, not all comfy with this, and they're like, oh, Marrow, like, we're so sorry, like, we shouldn't have done this. Why don't you give Penny's sword back to her? And then when Marrow goes up to give her the sword, that's what transitions the virus or whatever. That's what transfers the virus into Penny, is Marrow giving her the sword back, like, oh, Penny, we're so sorry, we shouldn't have done. Like, Watts and Ironwood trick the Aesops into thinking that they're going back on their plan and are like, here, please bring Penny's sword back to her as a peace offering. I saw someone in my Discord server say that, but no, I think that Watts is gonna hack her remotely. I think that makes the most sense. But yeah, so we have some ideas going here.
I think some of those are good.
Very strange brainstorming
Some of those,
session
the fakes were drunk.
Right?
I've stayed up. I've not slept a wink all last night. I've thought about one thing and one thing only.
Communicating with the spirit
world
on this one.
I drank peyote.
Oh boy.
And I've been to the spirit realm. I walked with the ancestors, and I've come back, and I know, or at least I suspect, that Penny's getting hacked, and this is how it's probably happening. Yes,
all 9 of our ideas are exactly how it's happening. But no, I mean, I think the core of it makes sense and is still there and all that stuff. And
I just really hope that Nuts and Bolts is the thing that happens.
We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video about us discussing some idea brainstorms for Penny getting hacked. Because we basically already predicted the hacking, so now it's about like where the hacking goes. And so yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.